The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The following program is rated TV MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to After Hours. And I thought we'd talk about the shutdown. It seems like a lot of people are talking about it. And most of the people that I've talked to are kind of happy because we're not spending money. At least our government isn't. So, oh, hi. Hi, Gemini and Summer. Thank you for joining me for a little bit. I know you guys were having a space, so thank you. I appreciate it. But a lot of people are talking about the shutdown in a good way. They're saying it's not so bad because, yeah, you can't go to some parks. And certain people are on furlough right now due to the fact that they have government jobs. The thing is that if you just don't work for the government, it doesn't seem to affect you at all. But, I don't have any friends that work for the government really. But I don't know. I don't know how this is going to affect them in the long term. Hopefully it won't last a long time. I just don't see how the people that voted those people in that are holding this up because they want us to give money to people that aren't even American citizens when we have American citizens that can't afford their health insurance or go to the dentist or go to the eye doctor or to put gas in their vehicle, things like that, because they're living from one check to another. But yet we're supposed to be, yay, give the money away. We want to be poor. It's just ridiculous. So I was going to play a few videos that I've had sent to me in the Friday Night Shit Show chat. And because we will talk about this a little bit tomorrow, but we have so many other things to talk about with Hegseth, things that he's done, and a few other things. So I wanted to just focus on just the shutdown and some of the videos that I've gotten that I thought we could watch and see different points of view. So I'm going to start off with this video of Trump talking before the shutdown. So here we go.
We could come up and through this whole thing, because I don't know, we'll probably have a shutdown because one of the things they want to do is they want to give incredible Medicare, the Cadillac Medicare to illegal immigrants. And what that does is it keeps them coming into our country, and like they do in California. And no country can afford that. No country. and we have the border stopped up. We have it closed. We have nobody for 4 months. Zero people came in. That wasn't me. That's by the authorities who happen to be liberally oriented. But just think of that. We have people offering health care to people all over the world that they can't afford to pay. And that's the Democrats. And what that does is it brings people into the country because they want to come in for the health care. But no country can afford it, and they can't afford it. So we cannot allow them to charge tremendous amounts of money for health care for people that aren't even citizens. And in many cases, they come in from prisons, jails, and mental institutions. And we can't let that happen. So,
yeah, I think he's right. I mean, anyone who's been paying attention to the wide open border for the last 4 years, and the fact that Trump tried very hard during his first term to fund the building of the wall. And on both sides, he was getting told, no, we don't have the money. We can't do this. And they never finished it. So, and then, then COVID and whatever else happened. So I don't understand anyone who's saying it's Trump's fault that we were invaded and that we're in debt and all this stuff after seeing what happened the last 4 years. I just don't understand their point of view at all, even though I listen to what they're saying, but I just don't understand how they could possibly believe that. And when I ask them, show me some evidence that this is Trump's fault or somebody else's fault besides the last administration for the border being wide open and all these people that have driver's license. We have people killing people, driving semis that can't even speak English. So it's just utter chaos. And to tell me that there's not people here that don't belong, that have driver's licenses and that are getting free shit off our tax dollars. So that is one thing that nobody's been able to share with me, proof that that these people are not getting free stuff. So until I see that, I don't know what to tell you. I don't believe you. I think you're full of shit. And if you can't show me something to prove your point, then shut up. I don't want to hear it. I don't have a problem with speaking my my point of view. And I will listen to you, but I want something. I want to see something. I want to watch videos or be able to research or look into it to prove that illegals aren't getting it, because where I'm sitting, it sure looks like it. And the fact that so many illegals are causing so much chaos with crime alone, just crime and death and robberies and everything else. I don't know. I'm just having a hard time believing anything that anyone on the left tells me. I just don't believe anything they say because they can't back up anything. All I see is that they hate this country and they hate me because I want money that I earned to stay in my own account. I'm not going to stand there and hand out money to people who didn't do anything to earn it. And if I worked for it, I deserve to keep it, just like every other American. If you're working 2 jobs trying to pay your bills, why is that wrong that you want to keep that money for yourself and your family and not hand it over to people who didn't do a damn thing in this country and aren't even an American citizen? I just think it's ridiculous. So, okay, I'm going to go on to the next thing that I have pulled up. Let's see, here we go. Sorry, give me a second. I think it's this one. Oh yeah, this one was really good because you hear over and over again how, this is how they feel. We're horrible people. We don't like illegals. We don't like anyone of a different skin tone than ours, all that stuff. Well, here is their queen of the liberals saying it in her own words, the exact same thing that we're trying to say now. Yet, for some reason, they still think that you can't go back and look things up from the past. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
As to illegal aliens, we agree with you that we do not think the comprehensive health care benefits should be extended to those who are undocumented workers and illegal aliens. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country. We know now that too many people come in for medical care as it is. We certainly don't want them having the same benefits that American citizens are entitled to have. As to illegal aliens,
So what
we agree
happened?
with you that
What happened between this time when Hillary's saying this till now? You know, where are all the Democrats that were around when she was in office before she became, you know, the president's right-hand woman till now? I mean, Schumer, half the Pelosi, all of them were in office at this time. So what changed? I don't understand. I mean, anybody can go back and look and see what Democrats said about illegal aliens. I mean, on any search engine and find bunches of these people saying this stuff. But I chose this woman because I despise this person. This person is disgusting. I think she's repulsive. She's disgusting. And I wouldn't shake her hand. I wouldn't shake her hand. I've never shaken her hand. I won't speak to this person. I just think they're lower than low. I mean, everything I've seen her do, my parents lived in Arkansas, and just what a horrible lying piece of shit she was. I mean, during the whole Whitewater stuff, I remember my mother telling me about it, and that she swore under oath that she never saw the documents and all this crap. And as soon as her husband's sworn in and they're moved all in cozy in the White House, guess what? They say, we found her fingerprints on the Whitewater documents in Arkansas. But nothing happened. She's a lying hag, and I can't stand her. And my nickname for her is Hildebeest. So, I guess I better say hi to everybody in the chat. I forgot. Sorry. I'm on fire tonight because this whole thing has just got me real riled up. But yeah, here is Shadow and Sun. Thank you for stopping in. And yes, you're right. It is. Less government is a good thing, I feel. Let's see who else is in here. Hi, baby girl. Thank you for stopping in. And thank you so much, Jackie Blue, for helping me out. I appreciate it. I know you got limited time because of your job. And hello, Mr. Wahlberg. I appreciate you stopping in. Let's see. Oh, and he's on here. Let's see who's over there. Oh, there they are. Summer hates pedos. Hello, Summer. Put her name up there. And hi, Doc. Hope you're doing well. I haven't really gotten to talk to you since you were on my show. Told us everyone about your wonderful books that you have for sale for gaming. Interesting. Say hello. Good evening to you. Let's see. Let's go down some more. I'm trying to go through all this stuff. Here's another one. It says, every government shutdown I've ever lived through provided government employees with back pay for the pay they missed. I don't think that's going to happen this time around. And I'm fine with this. So am I. Honestly, this is one thing I can say about all these people right now that are supposedly not working. What if they were only allowed to have the same health care as any of us? What if they had to have whatever systems that we have set up? That's what they got. So just think about how things would change if they started being treated the exact same way they treat us. That would be something to see. I would like to see a documentary about that, wouldn't you? Have someone follow all these different senators around, congressmen around in each state, have a little group in each state doing, following them where they go, what they do. And, when they go to the doctor and the dentist and the eye care and all that stuff compared to what we get, what we're allowed to have and have them tell us, how much money they had to spend or whatever else, and had they have a co-pay up front, like $5,000 before the insurance kicks in and pays for anything, stuff like that. I would love to see that. Maybe one day that will happen. Let's see what this. Doc Flamingo says the point is people who vote Dem won't go back and look. Yeah, that's right. That's awful convenient, isn't it? Many times I've had to say, well, I was wrong. I thought this was going on or this was happening. And then I found out later that wasn't true, that was a mistake. And I don't have a problem with that because I want to learn new things. And that's why I ask people, show me something, give me something. And I'll look it up. I'll try to find out, what you have and see if it's factual or not. But they're terrible about calling me a fascist and a Nazi and stuff. And then I said, "What exactly what you're doing right now? That's fascism." They don't believe me, and which really sad. And the fact that I really believe that most of those people that are rioting and doing that are being paid to do it. I don't think any of their lazy asses would get up and go out and do something like that to picket and hold signs or whatever else if they weren't getting paid for it. You know what I mean? So I honestly believe that. But let's see who else is in here. Yeah, she's the definition of vile. Ooh, I can't stand this person. Her voice is even. I mean, I don't think my voice is very nice either because it's kind of like frog-like or whatever. It's deeper for a girl. And with my allergies, it gets really, really bad. Scratchy and stuff like it's right now. My throat gets raw. But she's just disgusting. I just think she's a disgusting. I can't even come up with words for it. I know that's not Christian of me to say that, but I'm sorry. I'll have to pray and tell God I'm sorry for thinking that way about her. But I wish something would happen where either she repents and admits all her wrongdoings publicly, or something, and gives back all the money from her foundation that she just paid for her daughter's wedding and everything else. She's just repulsive. But here, we'll go to the next person. Hi, Six Nations. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. Yeah, you're off late start, but hopefully we're healthy, and I am healthy. Yeah, I was late. I kept making mistakes. Every time I would set up my Rumble and I'd put the time in and say 8 p.m. And then when I'd go back to go do the rest of it and go to StreamYard, when I click it, it would say that it's not set up, and I'd have to go back, and I kept doing it, and it wouldn't go through. And finally I got it to work, and I had to set it 15 minutes earlier. That's why it ended up being 8:30 by that time. So, normally I like to start at 8 o'clock. So, but I'm only going to go through the things that I have picked out. So hopefully I'll go quickly. And since I don't have anyone out here to join me tonight for my, usually I like to have someone else, counteract what I'm talking about and maybe have a different point of view. I really like that. But nobody was available. So I was like, oh, well, the different myself. Yeah. The situation does suck. The drama that's unfolding and everything. It's like, I don't know. It's, to me, it's all a, puppet theater or whatever you want to call it. It's like, I just don't understand any person, a real person that has a job, and they got to get up and they got to take a shower, eat breakfast, get their kids to school or whatever before they get in their car and go to work, then work all day, come home and have to, clean and cook and whatever, and help their kids with their homework and things like that, that think that the Democrats are doing a good thing. You know what I mean? I haven't met a single one. Not a single person have I met at the grocery store or anywhere. Well, I do live in a more conservative place than I did when I lived in New Orleans, because New Orleans had a lot more, people that were in the middle, basically. A few liberals, but, not as many as you'd think. But, even most of my gay friends are conservative. It's like, at least fiscally, the money wise, I have so many of my friends. I don't know of a single liberal, besides there's like 2 people I've met in my lifetime that honestly believe that everybody should be in a utopia and we should all be putting all our money into a pot and we all share it out. And I tried to tell her, this one friend, tried to explain to her, I said, if you got a chance, if you do this experiment, because I've seen it done before and it always turns out the same way every single time, because there's selfish people in the world. You're never going to get rid of selfish people. Is you get a community and you set up a community garden, right? And you till it and you get it all ready, figure out where you're going to plant the corn or the tomatoes and all the different fruits and vegetables or whatever that you're going to grow. Well, not really fruits, because most of those are on trees, unless it's strawberries or blueberries, something like that. But you do that, okay? Then you wait. Everybody comes and works in the garden, weeds, whatever else. But when it's time to gather everything, right, to pick it and put it out. What's funny is during everyone shows up for that part. Everyone in the community will show up for their buckets of fruits and vegetables. But what's funny is that during the time that you're growing it, fewer and fewer people show up to weed or to make sure there's no bugs on it, or make sure it's not tipped over after a storm, make sure the buds are on there, everything that's going good with the garden. Okay. Oh, it's too hot. It's wet. It's sticky. It's humid, or whatever their excuses are. So they show up though at the end for their stuff, to get it, even though they didn't work. It's a community garden. You're all supposed to work at it to each get some of it, right? So then they ended up doing another garden the next time, but this time they had a clipboard, and they had people had to take turns to make sure that each person that came to work each day signed the clipboard and wrote what they did, whether they watered or they pulled weeds and all those different things, right? Well, when they did that, and then it's end time, and the people that didn't come last time to help, they didn't come, but they showed up for the harvest day, right? Well, then you have to say, well, I'm sorry, you didn't come and do this, and that, or any of these things, so you're last. You have to go to the back of the line, and everyone, these other people that worked and came every day or came every week and whatever, they get first pick. So they get their bucket, they get to go pick it, and they were pissed. And they thought that was wrong. And that was because I'm old, or it's because I'm heavy, or because of my skin tone. It was always another excuse why they didn't come and work in the garden. And it's the same thing we have right now. We have a group of people like this woman on the screen that used to say, when she was in office, to get what she wanted, she said that she agreed with her constituents. Oh, we shouldn't give stuff to these people. But now they want to give it to them because they see a whole new slew of people that they can give free stuff to, that will show up every time to vote for more free stuff, right? So I just think it's disgusting. But so I'm going to go to the next video. So just give me a second. I'm going to make sure I got this right. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go to this next video because, yeah, she's disgusting. I can't stand that woman. But this next one is pretty good too. It's got another little point of view on here. I think it's this one. Yeah, here we go. All right. Now, I saw this post come across my timeline. This one wasn't sent to me or anything. I saw it. And this gentleman is explaining. This is exactly why the Democrats have shut down the U.S. government. One of the most shocking whistleblowers in the history of whistleblowing. Whistleblower inside the Biden-Kamala administration. Okay, so I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's basically what's in the video down below. But I want to play this for you if you haven't seen it. Make sure it's turned up. And yeah, it's very interesting and informative. So let me make sure it's the beginning.
Wanted us to try to identify them in such a way that they would qualify for long-term Social Security disability. Now,
What?
Yeah, and long-term Social Security disability is for life.
Yeah.
So if they get identified and qualify for long-term Social Security disability, they are as good as set up for life for medical treatment.
That doesn't sound like a refugee to me. Just being honest.
Yeah.
That sounds like somebody who's planning on staying here.
Yeah,
A
right,
refugee
right.
stays until the problem's over and then goes home.
Well, that's right. And so they instructed us to try to identify, to try to get the client, because once they arrive here, they're now called clients.
They're called clients.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
because clients pay.
Sure.
See?
Sure. I'm starting
And
to
so-
see where this is leading here.
So they told us that we needed to talk to the client and ask them if they'd had any uh, headaches, recurring headaches, or any lower back problems. Excuse me, anything that would qualify them for Social Security long-term disability.
Wait. Wait. So let me get this straight. Part of the screening is supposed to be, are you sick, maimed, injured, whatever?
Right.
No. Okay, good. You can come in.
Yeah.
You get on the
Okay, I want to say something really quick about this. I have a couple of friends that have been fighting for 5 or 6 years to get their VA benefits because they hurt their back or injured their leg or whatever while they were in the military. And then they've gotten out of the military because of their injury. Okay. And now they're working like part-time job or another job just to pay bills while they're waiting to get their benefits, and they still haven't gotten them. And then usually by they go through all these hoops and get all this paperwork and do all this stuff, and then they get partial benefits. Okay. Now, what these people are talking about is basically they get refugees that they call refugees from, say, Somalia or India or wherever it is, whatever country that they, or China, wherever it is, they bring them in special, and then instead of them coming in and then getting a job and doing all this different stuff to try to assimilate, right, into their community, they go to them and say, we got to find out if you have any, if you're hurting or anything, like hinting at them, does your feet hurt or your back ache or you have a headache, and all this different stuff, kind of, and then telling them, because if you do, we can help you get a place to live and medical care and food, all the things that we can't even get our veterans, right? Or let's say you've worked for Firestone for 20 years and you get hurt on the job. You hurt your back or you hurt your leg or something. And then you got to try to apply to get Social Security benefits, or things like that. It's hard to do that. I mean, I had a friend who passed out at work when I was a florist, and it was a grocery store. So I ran the floral department in the grocery store, and they fell down at work and found out later, after they went to the doctor and stuff, that he had passed out because he had a mild heart attack, okay, at work. Well, then after that, he started trying to apply to get benefits for that because he couldn't walk across the room and he couldn't do a lot of things anymore because he was so weak. He felt weak. He couldn't, his stamina was gone. It was like after he had the heart attack, it messed him up. And it took forever. It took like years before he finally got it. And then these people come in and they're on the fast track. Bam! Get them this, get them that, give them food, everything they want. Why? Why are these people at the front of the line when they're not even a citizen? They haven't paid in one dime in taxes or anything. It's disgusting. And I can't believe that more people, whether you're a liberal or not, if your ass got up and went to work, why would you want to hand over your check to that person who just walked over the border? It just doesn't make any sense. There's no common sense in any of this. I don't understand it.
airplane. Are you sick, maimed, injured, whatever? Yes. Good. So we can give you disability.
Correct.
What?
Yes.
This is insanity.
Yes, it is insanity.
But in order to get Social Security disability benefits, don't you need a Social Security number?
Well, we were instructed in the meeting that one of the first things we were supposed to do was sign them up for Social Security. Yeah.
Wait. This is unbelievable. So they come over here and they get a Social Security number.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They become legal.
Correct.
Are you pulling my leg?
No, I'm not. And then after we processed them for a Social Security card, then we were to process them for a U.S. passport.
No, you're not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's about the time I kind of decided, okay, I was done. I've heard everything I want to know. I was so angry about this, that they would receive a U.S. passport. It just, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that we were giving these people Social Security cards and U.S. passports and free medical.
They're getting all this, and a certain party is pushing it for them to get it. What are these people getting as kickback to do this? They get voted in by American citizens, okay, into their position to become a senator or a congressman or a state representative, or whatever it is, whatever position, a county clerk, whatever it is. And these people are basically putting these people on a bus and pushing them to the front of the line, and then handing them everything, the free place to live, medical, dental, eye care, everything. What if you're treated like that when you come over the border and don't even have grocery stores, you have like a corner market that's on outside, right? With only this very small amount of food. That was one thing I got to do when I got to go to the Philippines when I was young. I was like 8 years old when I got to go over there, and my dad took me a lot off base, and I got to mingle with him, while he would talk to a lot of people for his job. And I got to see people. He would pick some people up, and I couldn't tell you exactly everything he did because he didn't do it all the time. It was like once a month, and he would take them on the base with him and take them to the commissary, and their eyes were like, they look around like, oh, they couldn't believe how much food and stuff was in these stores, right? And they were so humble and so thankful to my dad because he'd buy them milk and bread and meat and stuff, and then we'd take them home for their families. And they lived in a nipa hut. I remember this because I just thought it was amazing. I loved how they lived, and I remember getting to stay the night a couple times with some of the people in their nipa hut and see how they lived, even though I couldn't understand, and getting to read Philippine comic books and stuff like that. It was so exciting. But the look on these people's face when they saw what we had, I can see why people in these other countries, once they get a small sample or a view with their own eyes of what we have in our country, I can see why they want to come here. And I don't have a problem with them if they want to come here and assimilate, sign up to become a citizen, learn about our history, do all the things, the steps that you have to take to become a citizen. And then you get a job and do the same thing that we do. And then you have the right to send your kid to school, do all that. I don't see why that's so bad. I have relatives that have come here from Norway and other countries and became citizens. Okay. So I know it can happen. Okay. And I know it's beneficial, and they're thankful for being able to come here and become an American citizen. But these people are crooked when you look and say, if we bring in 100,000 of these people and we spread them around in this one state and we give them this, that, and the other, and we pay for them and stuff, and then we get subsidized with the government, which is the rest of us all paying taxes to give them more money, like all these NGOs and stuff that Doge started opening up. I really believe that when Trump and Elon got together and they decided to do this whole thing with Doge, at the very beginning of this administration started, right, was to let people like us to see all the waste in a very small samples, very small. Like, what was it? I think it was Big Balls was one of the ones that they interviewed. And he talked about the Social Security fraud, people that were 210 years old still getting a check, things like that. It was just outlandish. It was so hard to believe that we really couldn't understand that they were really doing it, that we thought that couldn't be possible that this is real, but it was. So I just think it's amazing. I just think it's amazing what they've been able to get away with. And when you've had a free piggy bank, basically, where you could just stick your hand in anytime you wanted and take money out for whatever it is that you want it for, it's hard to give that up, right? So that's why I think they're just throwing a tantrum. They're throwing a fit because Doge got rid of a bunch of their money, and now we're at a shutdown because we actually have people that are fighting to stop the waste, to stop giving this money to these people when we have homeless people, we have homeless veterans, we have other people that have worked their whole lives and they can't even get Social Security benefits, like these ladies talking about them just handing it to people who haven't put in one dime in the system. It's wrong. And I wish more people would share stuff like this with these people and say, this is what they're doing with the money that you should be having in your bank account because you've worked 40 years and you hurt yourself. You deserve to get this money, right? Not these people.
Free housing, free food, free everything.
Yeah, but the thing that bothers me, because the food we can recoup from, and the money irritates me, but we can earn it back and we can stop the program or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But once you give somebody a Social Security number
Mm-hmm.
and you give them what considered globally the golden ticket, which is a U.S.
US
passport,
right?
that
Right.
is beyond comprehension that we're
Right.
doing this.
That's right.
Do bureaucrats know this is happening?
Well, interestingly enough, no, they don't. A lot of governors are unaware of how many refugees have come into their state, where they're located, under what conditions they've arrived. And I believe this is intentional. I believe this is intentional. Now, we do know that the governor of Texas and the governor of Tennessee have both stopped this, and they're refusing to take any more refugees. In fact, the federal government has filed a lawsuit against both of those states because they're refusing to take any more refugees.
How dare you keep your people safe?
Right.
But okay, so let's just say all the states are saying we want to pull out of this refugee resettlement program
Mm-hmm.
from the federal government, then they're fine, right? There's no other way the refugees are getting in?
Well, no, the state can assert that they no longer want to receive refugees. And then the federal government says, all right. And so then they start implementing a program called the Wilson Fish program. And Wilson Fish simply bypasses the sovereignty of that state. In other words, the state no longer processes the refugees. That means, in plain English, you no longer get to know how many are coming in, when they're coming in, where they're going, how much money is being spent on them, whether they're diseased or not diseased. You've lost all control over the entire situation. And as a sovereign state, you've relinquished that. And so Wilson Fish comes in then, and all of the federal monies that are set aside for this program bypass the state and go to third-party entities. And that would be something like Catholic Charities or Jewish Vocational Services. So it would bypass the state entirely, and they would take over the entire process of processing the refugees.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. And as a U.S. citizen and as a citizen of the sovereign state of Missouri, I am not in favor of that. I think we need to maintain our sovereignty, just like we would in the United States. You know, honestly, we are first a citizen of the state of Missouri because we are a sovereign state, and then we're a citizen of the United States of America. But our first sovereignty and citizenship is to our state. And a lot of people don't realize that. So in order for us to maintain the health and welfare and the security of our borders, we must know who's coming and going.
Yeah, you have to.
Right.
You have to. And FUNU doesn't work for me.
FUNU doesn't work for me either.
And giving them a Social Security number and a passport actually makes this problem worse, not better.
Correct.
Have we been placed at risk? I mean, you mentioned that this is an invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Are we at risk?
I believe we are at risk, Josh, because when they come in, we're urged to compatriate them with fellow refugees, those who have come in before them. We are urged to locate other communities of refugees from the same country of origin, the same language, the same culture as those who are arriving. And so when they come in, and we have had Syrians come in, and we know Syrians are on the list of those 7 countries that have been banned. And so we've received Syrians here in Missouri.
Even after the ban?
Yes.
What?
Yes. And so these Syrians coming in, and we know that they are coming from a country of origin that has malevolent intent toward us as a nation. And we now know they're not being vetted. And we now know that not only are they coming from a malevolent country or country that has malevolent intent, and we now know they're not vetted, we're giving them support and we're giving them a passport.
What name do they put on the passport if their name on the thing is Funu?
I don't know.
Can they just pick a name?
Scary shit. I'm going to copy the link for this and put it in the chat for anyone who would like to watch it a couple more times or even share it with others, because it's a scary shit, I think. It's sad. And she's from Missouri. Okay. And this is in Missouri. This is another thing that I think is interesting. Remember when Obama was president and we had to bail out, what was it called? Something Solyndra or something. And then there was another company that we bailed out because it was too big to fail and all this shit. And you don't hear of them now. So they got all that money anyways. But little things like that. If you have a state, let's say, I'll just use Arkansas. Let's say Arkansas decides we have a balanced budget amendment. So it's the law in our country, in our state, that they can't overspend. They have to have the money there to be able to spend it on whatever it is to run the state. So they have to, and I think we should have a balanced budget amendment. I wish there was a way to do that, but I just think it's ridiculous that we in these different states and as a country, that they're allowed to just spend money that we don't have. And for one thing, if you have a household and you only have this much money coming in, you should only be able to spend that much money going out. Because if you put cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching in charge, what happens over time? You're spending more on interest than you are on actually paying anything off. And then eventually the house is gone, the car is gone. You have no means to be able to get to work unless you're close enough to walk. Things like that. It's, there's, dangers to your lifestyle when you live outside the means that you have. And I don't think we're teaching anyone that. And if they are, they're not holding anyone accountable. It's funny how you can get a company to come in and help you pay down your debt, right? If you have credit card debt, but the same company won't help you if you owe money for medical bills. I wonder why, why would they help you? So to me, it seems like these companies work hand in hand with whoever is that's trying to help you get the money to pay off the credit card bills. So maybe they're getting incentives or things like that. I don't know, but all of this is very interesting. How do we fix this shit? How do we stop this shit? Or for one, if you knew that you had a person in your state and they're somewhere, a senator or somewhere high in the government in your state, and you found out that they were busing illegals over the border and straight into your state, and then they were putting them to work, let's say driving trucks and putting them on the road, even though they can't speak English or even read a street signs and stuff like that. And it's ridiculous because I found out when I started going to some trucker spaces and they were talking about, all this stuff about the illegals and the accidents after seeing some of these people be killed, whole families be killed by these truck drivers that can't speak English and shouldn't even have a driver's license and are not even citizens. But they're working for these companies because the companies can pay them basically nothing. Why? If you gave a person a job that was an illegal, and okay, they came here and they said they had fake papers or whatever, and you gave them a job at a chicken plant, let's say that. They get their check and they had to go find an apartment, get a vehicle, all that stuff on their own with their measly check. How long do you think they'd stay here? I don't think they'd stay very long because it's not worth it to them. because they're not getting all the free shit. The only reason these people are coming in droves and staying here is because of the free stuff. I don't understand why we give one dime to anyone outside of our country at all, when we have homeless people in our own country. We have people that can't go to the doctor, that can't go to the dentist, that can't go to the eye doctor. They dig in garbage cans. We have families with children living in a vehicle in their car, stuff like that. When we have that kind of stuff in our country, why are we spending one dime for any other country? I don't understand that at all. I think it's ridiculous. And I always vote no. I always vote against stuff like that. I vote for veterans. I vote to help the homeless. And I also vote to try to help like with medical marijuana and things like that, because I have had family members that have gone through cancer, and smoking pot helped their appetite. And it made them eat more so that they could get the iron levels up and stuff like that to help them go through chemo and things like that. So there's lots of things that I feel that in your state, when you have the right to do those things, that you can improve your state and help your people by passing certain things if you vote and if you understand what you're voting for. I've seen so many people go and say, oh, I'm going to vote for this. And I'm like, why? Well, I don't know. Because I was asked to. I said, well, didn't you even read what you're voting for? And a lot of people, when they find out what they're actually going there to vote for, or after they already voted, they went, I didn't know that's what it was for. And I was, because that's uninformed. Uninformed voters might as well be voting for the opposition, because that's basically what you end up doing. That's why if you're at the polls and you're wanting to vote and you don't understand whether it's against or for because of the wording, and sometimes they do that on purpose, you just have to raise your hand and a helper will come over and they'll get a judge for you, somebody to answer the question. And if I vote against, what am I voting? Am I voting to get that to come here or to get it to not come here? You see, you get to ask questions. Just try to find out as much as you can before you go vote for something. If you don't know what you're voting for, don't vote. Don't vote for that, because you're going to screw yourself over in the long run. I guarantee it. Too many people do that. So I just wish that more people would try to get informed and not vote for stuff that is not good for their towns. So let me delete that one and go to the next one. Oh, here is something I thought was interesting, and I wanted to play it because I like it when I see stuff like this. Because I think she's a go-getter. She don't take no shit. I like her a lot. Here we go.
To undocumented immigrants, even though it's against the law for them to get these benefits. I know there's some debate about law-free presence.
Do you think that illegal aliens should receive Medicaid benefits? Medicaid benefits that go to the most vulnerable
I didn't ask about benefits, and that's a debate.
Medicaid benefits that were designed to help low-income families and Americans in our country.
But they can't receive them.
But what the Biden administration did, Gabe, is they allowed tens of millions of illegal aliens from all over the world
Parole and temporary
to come
protected
into our
status.
country, yes, and they paroled them into the system. And you cover immigration, and you know well, it was a complete abuse of our immigration
But my
system.
question
and they
isn't-
slapped a Band-Aid on these illegals. They called it temporary protective status, and then they allowed those illegals from all over the world to get free benefits. And you know who would like free benefits?
I understand that point, Caroline.
Hardworking Americans who work their butts off every day, who are living paycheck to paycheck because of the Biden-induced inflation crisis. And there were higher wait times at hospitals under the Biden administration. We saw these illegals committing crimes all over our country, and they're getting things for free. That is fundamentally unfair, and this administration
But
is not
for
going
the
to
ER,
I love how these reporters ask questions, and then when someone's trying to answer their question, they never stop talking. They never let them finish. And then when you ask them a question, they do everything but answer it. It's amazing. It's like they all learn from the same playbook. You know, they do it exactly the same way. And as soon as I ask a question or I'm asked a question, by the way they treat me when I'm answering it, I know they're a liberal. I mean, it's so freaking easy to figure it out. You could just say, and turn around, just shrug your shoulders and turn around and walk off, because it's a waste of your time to try to have a discussion with some of these people, because they're not going to listen to you. And another thing that I get a kick out of is when you're having a conversation with someone, they say they want to have a conversation, or they want back and forth banter or whatever, and you're trying to talk to them, and they do nothing but talk over you. They will not let you speak. And then when you bring up a point, they change the subject. They go to something else because they have nothing. I mean, how can anyone in their right mind get a hardworking families to agree that, oh, we want to hand over half our paycheck to illegals? They won't. That is why you can't get people that work hard to give up what they're working for someone who hasn't put a day in to get it. People say, oh, they're the hardest working people I've ever seen. Yeah, they may be hardworking, but they don't deserve free shit. They're not any more hardworking than I am, or my dad was, or my sister, or anyone else that I've seen working, whether they're a waitress, or they work in a factory, or they're a mechanic at a auto shop, or maybe they just work at Walmart and they stock the shelves. Okay. But if they do their job and they show up and they do what they're supposed to each day, that doesn't matter whether you think they're working hard or not. They are working, or they wouldn't have that job. Right. So a person sitting out in front of Lowe's or Home Depot waiting to jump in the back of your truck, that can't even speak English because you're going to give them cash under the table. I did that one time. I picked up a couple people and asked them, I said, would you come and mow my yard and rake and do all these things? And they were just nodding their head. And I said, and I got a checkbook out and I said, can I write you a check? And they go, no. They understood what a check was. And I said, what's wrong with a check? Don't you have an account? Don't you live here? Aren't you applying for citizenship? And they just kind of look at each other and they nod their head. Yes. So I'm telling you, it's disgusting. And this shutdown is all because of that. That is their bankroll, because they get subsidies from all this stuff. Somebody's rubbing somebody's back. Somebody's getting something out of it. There's no reason why these people would fight so hard to give free stuff to someone else unless they're getting something. And I just wish I knew what it was. I really do. I haven't been able to. I've missed so many spaces because I've been so busy. I've had so much stuff I've had to try to get caught up around. And I went to Texas and delivered another blanket that I made. I've been really, really busy, but this stuff's important. And I wish more people actually knew what was going on or tried to find out. And that's another thing, is that people just kind of, they just don't care. And I know because I have people like that in my own family. They go, hey, it doesn't affect me. And I'm like, it does in the long run. It affects your kids. It's going to affect your grandchildren one day. And they just act like it's no big deal. As long as I can go through the drive-thru at McDonald's and it's still working, then they don't care. It doesn't affect them. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm just flabbergasted by this sometimes, because I just don't understand how people can just be so nonchalant about so much that they're looking at on a daily basis. And it's just like, they could care less. It's really shocking to me. Well, this right here, I thought was pretty interesting too. And JD Vance has really impressed me so far. I had never heard of him before he ran for vice president. And that's when I first started looking into him. And all anyone knew was that he wrote a book and it was made to a movie. So I was like, you need to watch the movie. I still haven't seen the movie yet. I haven't had time to watch it, but I was told it was pretty good. It was based on his life or whatever type of thing. But if he does a real good job as vice president, maybe then I'll watch his movie or read his book or whatever. But as of right now, I haven't had time. But I have been happy with his support for my president that I voted for 3 times, I might add. Then I'm hoping that things do get better with the support that he has, with the people he has right now. serving under him, I've been really impressed. I really have. Yes, I'm not saying they're perfect, because a few of them had said things and made mistakes. And Trump does it all the time. He's boisterous and loud and proud, and but he's a man. He's a human. None of us are perfect, and I don't expect him to be perfect. I just want him to be himself, like he's done, and keep doing what he's doing, because I honestly believe he loves this country. And I've told this story 100 times, but I can't help it. I didn't vote. I didn't want him. I wanted Ben Carson. That's who I was pushing. That's who I was trying to get to be picked to be president, because I love Ben Carson. I still love him and his wife. I think they're just wonderful people and good Christians. But when Trump got it, I was like, oh well, I'm gonna have to put all my eggs in his basket this time. And I started watching more and more of his interviews and him going out and doing rallies and stuff. And I did try to go to a couple rallies, and something always happened where I didn't get to go. So that sucked. But my friends said they had so much fun when they got to go, and that the people were wonderful, even though it was hot or it was rainy or whatever, that they just had so much fun. They were so inspired and everything by it. So that gave me hope that maybe we were going to have something good happen. And then I watched this one video, and you guys know how I am with veterans. I can't help it. I got a big soft heart for veterans. And I was watching this video, and he had went to some special event. I think it was Veterans Day or something. And he's walking along, and Melania's with him. She's walking behind him, and they're shaking hands and they're greeting people. And I see him walking up to this one gentleman. Sorry, my nose is itching real bad. He had no hands. He had hooks. He had those little hooks because he had lost his arms, I guess, in war. And Trump, when he approached him, and I've seen other people in politics approach these people, and they just nod, or something like that. They don't do anything. They don't really. You can't really hear what they're saying, because it's a bunch of people walking along greeting the veterans, right? Well, what does Trump do? This is what pulled me in and made me realize that Trump really is a compassionate person, even though everybody says he's a dick or whatever they want to say. I just know what I felt when I saw this. When he approached this man, and the man's wife is standing on the other side of him, and she's all smiles and he's all smiles, and Trump stands there for just a few seconds, and then he reaches his hand out and he touched the man on the face. I get emotional every time I talk about it, because it was so riveting to me. That moment, I knew that he was a real good man, and that he cared about us as citizens of this country. And when he saw the guy had no hands, he wanted him to know that he was there, that he was compassionate or whatever. I don't know what he wanted, but it really moved me, and I'll never forget that, what I saw. And I that's why I voted for him for 3 times, because after I saw that, I knew that he was the man that we needed. And then it just reinforced it after what happened in Butler. And I happened to see what happened, and it was horrible. It was horrible. And it was a miracle at that moment that he turned his head and didn't get shot in the head, because it wasn't even, it was so close. It could have blew his brains out. And I think that was a setup in the first place. So just too many bad things happened, one after the other. And so many people saw him up on the roof and all that. So I'd like to find out the truth about that. And hopefully one day we will. But as of right now, I don't feel like all the people that were involved in that have been named yet, but I hope that they will be. Okay, sorry, I went on a tangent, but I do that a lot. But who cares? I'm not getting paid. I'm doing this because I think it's important that people know about it and know what's going on. And maybe you're bored and you want to listen to me. That's fine. Whatever. I do this because I enjoy it, and this is my my way of let's say my entertainment. I do this because I like it, And hopefully I'll help some people while I'm doing it. But I want everybody to see this. I'm going to open this up and let you guys listen to our vice president speak.
We are going to shut down the government unless you give $1 trillion for medical benefits for illegal aliens. The major healthcare reform that we've done in this administration is we've made it harder to give your hard-earned tax dollars to medical benefits for illegal aliens. The Democrats want to undo that. And they're saying that unless you give that money to those illegal aliens, unless you give those benefits to those illegal aliens, we are going to shut down the people's government. It's such a stark contrast between two parties' priorities. We want to put the government to work for the American people first. The Democrats want to shut down the government because we won't give free benefits to illegal aliens. It's such a good, again, contrast for what the Democrats stand for and what Republicans stand for. We're not going to be taken hostage by the Democrats' desperate desire to give your tax money to illegal aliens. We're just not going to do it. We have to realize the Democrats, their whole argument is we are going to shut down the government unless you give $1 trillion for medical benefits. We are going to shut down the government.
That's ridiculous. So I'm thankful that we're shut down. And every day that we're shut down is another day to get more people to believe the facts of where they want this money to go. And if more people are opening their eyes and looking and saying, why would I want to hand my money over to somebody who didn't put any money into the system? If we can get that to happen and we get that out of it, that's something, it's sad. I don't want to see people lose their job, but if a person loses their job because it's a job that's not needed, they're going to have to move on to the next job. I mean, that's like me. I've worked in a chicken plant. I've worked as a florist. I've worked as a stand-in. I've done, so I craft. I used to sell stuff down in the quarter, New Orleans, crafts that I made by hand, handmade crafts. I've done so many different jobs. I've been a cashier. I've been worked in a bar. I've been a waitress. I've done whatever I've had to do to pay my bills, because my parents raised me to take care of myself. She said, as soon as you rely on another person to take care of you, you'll never be happy. Because at any time that they threaten you that they're going to leave you or that they're sick of you or they don't want to take care of you anymore, what are you going to do? If they walk out, you lose everything because you have no money. You have no income. Don't ever get put in that position. And she had 5 daughters. So now as an adult, I can see that, why she said that. Because look around. How many people do you see that lose everything because they put everything into this one person to take care of them, and then they had nothing? They weren't able to do anything for themselves. So every time I looked at it like every job that I had was an experience. But guess what? If I lost that job, I could go do another job that I've done. I've learned a lot of skills and I can go do something else. Yeah, I'm not making $100 an hour because I'm not an electrician or plumber or something like that. But I can work 2 different jobs and make some money and put food on my table or have a roof over my head and take care of myself. It doesn't matter whether I had the fanciest house or not. I could live in a trailer house or whatever, an RV, whatever I can afford. But I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. And I'm not going to sit around and with my hand out and say, yeah, I'll vote for you. Just give me some money. I'm just not going to do it. I will never do that. So I'd rather do without. I go to secondhand stores, buy clothes, whatever I have to make ends meet, I'll do it. And I'm not ashamed to say that either. There's nothing wrong with me. I mean, if I'm wearing a shirt that I bought at a thrift store, how do you know I bought it there? Unless I tell you, right? So I don't know. I don't know why anyone would be embarrassed to save money. If you're using coupons, I did that for many years when my kids were real small. I used to go to 5 different grocery stores so I could get a free gallon of milk or a free loaf of bread, whatever it was that went with after you spent $50. That's where I would go. And I would get the free stuff. And I get the coupons and save money on cereal or whatever I had to. And guess what? I never was on food stamps. I've never did that. I worked 2 or 3 jobs. I babysat for people to make money. I did everything. I mowed yards for people on the weekend. So I'm not too good to not work. I mean, I will work. I will pay my own way, and I'll never ask other people to take care of me. And that's what is sad, because we have so many people in our country right now that are willing to kiss ass, grovel, whatever they have to get something for nothing, because they just want to sit on their ass and take a check and have nothing, basically. Because if that check ever stops, what are they going to do? And then they're raising another generation to do the same thing, and then they'll do the same thing with their kids. It's sickening that we put anyone in that position. Every child who graduates from high school should be able to read and write, to be able to balance a checkbook, to be able to have the skills to be a cashier, work at the library, take tickets at the bus station, work in a movie theater. Is something. We have kids that graduate from high school that can't read or write. They can't cook for themselves. They can't even sew a hole in their sock, or any of these things. My mother made sure we could change a tire on a car, us girls, and we could sew, and we could cook a few things, maybe grilled cheese sandwich or whatever it is. We knew how to cook stuff. I mean, I'm terrible at baking. I can't bake pies or any of that stuff, but they suck. I have one sister that can cook really well, so she's the baker in the family. But I tried. I always made an effort to try to do stuff. I was better at outdoor stuff. I love being outdoors. I love fishing, and I can skin a squirrel, and I can cook squirrel, a rabbit, things like that, and a fish. I can clean a fish. So my sisters didn't like to do that. So that was basically the job that I would do, was the things that came to be in outdoors. That's what I did. I was a tomboy and I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. But now I like to wear makeup and a few things like that too. So it's not so bad. But I think that I'm happy that we're shut down, and I'm hoping if we could, go a little bit longer before the Democrats cave, because I'm telling you right now, if our side caves, I'm going to be so depressed. I don't know if I'll be able to come out of it. Hopefully I will. I've been praying a lot that somehow we can get these people, even just a couple, enough to come back so that we can, get back in business. But we have to do something. We can't bend. That's one thing I've bitched and moaned about for many years, that our people that say that they're conservatives end up being rhinos. And most of the time, the only way you even knew they weren't a Democrat is because they had R next to their name. That's the only reason. And I want to see an R next to someone's name and someone actually mean that they're a Republican or a conservative. I don't want to find out by the way they vote. I want them to vote the way I want them to vote. I want them to fight for my paycheck. I want them to fight for my rights. Okay. And not say, well, I need more money in my bank account, so I'm going to vote for these people this time. I don't want to hear that shit. I want them to fight for America. I want American citizens to get what they deserve, more money in their bank account, and be able to spend it where they want to, and not have it taken away from them. So that's the way I feel about that. But I went on another rant, but I don't care. You don't have to watch if you don't want to. But see, let's see what the next thing I wanted to bring up. Oh yeah, this one's pretty good. Here's another one. I don't know if you've seen this before or not, but all this stuff is stuff that I get to watch and people send me. So I think it's pretty good. I'm lucky. I got a lot of friends that send me good stuff. But here we go. This is a good one. This is Mike Johnson. He says the Democrats are demanding that we restore the taxpayer-funded benefits for illegals, restore $500 million for woke public media, and gut the $50 billion we allocated for rural hospitals. So let me make this bigger so you guys can watch this. But here we go.
We filed a 24-page clean CR. They filed a dirty CR as a counter proposal, included in it, and they brought this up at the meeting yesterday. They want to restore taxpayer-funded benefits, American taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens, okay? We're not doing that. We got rid of that in our One Big Beautiful Bill. We're not going back to that policy. This was a big issue in the election last fall. American taxpayers are not supposed to fund people who break the law coming into the country illegally. They're demanding that as a condition of their votes. They also want to gut the $50 billion that we included in our legislation, have already passed, signed into law, to protect rural hospitals. They want to claw that money back inexplicably. They want to give the Corporation for Public Broadcasting $500 million, $500 million, to prop up these left-leaning media organizations that we defunded. I don't think, and the American people don't think, that taxpayers should be funding that in the age of, ubiquitous media coverage and so many options. So all these things that they're trying to cram into a very simple, remember the terms of this, 7 weeks. We're only buying until November 21st, again, to allow the appropriations process to continue. And I think this is very important. We've talked about this on the program before. I've been trying very hard since I became Speaker 2 years ago to force the Congress back into the regular appropriations process. And why is that so important? Because that's how you act as a good steward of the precious resources of American taxpayers.
Awesome. And I don't know. I've had a kind of a like and not like and not like with Johnson, because sometimes I feel like he's saying the right things, but I don't see any action. I don't see anything happening. They're just kind of lollygagging. I mean, I've said it, I don't know, 100 times in the last few months, that they haven't even got all our judges in yet for Trump. That they're just dragging. It's already been 9 months, that he's been in office, and they're just like lollygagging around. What in the hell are they doing? I hear people bitching and moaning constantly about the Epstein files and that Bondi sucks and all this shit. Where are the same people whining about that shit? Well, first, before I say this, the victims of the Epstein stuff, they're the ones that deserve justice. And if somebody works something out and they don't tell any of us, I can live with that as long as the victims get what they deserve. Justice. That's how I see it. So the fact that these people bitch and moan constantly, that say that they're conservatives and whine and complain about the Epstein bullshit when they don't say shit about Congress or any of these people doing their job and just dragging their feet, when we should have all of our judges in and stuff like that for Trump. All the things that they're supposed to be doing so that we can prosecute people in our states that are illegal citizens, that are driving trucks and killing people and things like that. And there shouldn't be any cash bail and stupid shit like that. Important stuff that affects us every day. Epstein files don't affect taxpayers every day. Yes, it's sad what happened to them. And yes, they deserve justice, and they will get justice. They've already said that they're going to do whatever they can to help these people. And the fact that she, whatever her name is, the lady that's in prison for supposedly trafficking all these people, she's in jail. Okay. And so that judge releases the transcripts from her court, and then you got everything you need to prosecute whoever put her in prison, right? But that's who people should be bitching at. We want this judge, whoever it is, to release that information. There's so many things you guys could be doing besides whining, complaining. That's Trump that is stopping it. He's the president of the United States. As far as I can see, he's done way more than any other president since I've been alive in this planet. And I'm proud of what he's done. And I'm not going to sit around and bitch and moan about one stupid documents that need to be released when all this other shit that affects millions and millions and millions of people is more important. And I'm going to let him do his job. And he's got 4 years, to finish. And hopefully he'll You get to finish a lot of it, or get the ball rolling for the next person to step up, which could be JD Vance if he decides he wants to do it. Because I don't know if I would want to after all seeing some of the horrible stuff that this cabinet has gone through already. I mean, death threats, bomb threats, it's terrible. And to see Trump almost assassinated by a few people already, and who knows how many they've stopped before they, anything was able to even get close to him. It's disgusting. And I hope that, one of these days, these people will stop worrying about some of this shit. I'm sorry. I don't know why you think I'm ignoring you. I keep putting you up on the thing. Yeah, what's this? Harvard just hired a drag queen for gender and sexual studies. Yeah, I can believe it. But the thing is, until parents research the college that you're going to send your child to and don't send them there, go somewhere else and spend your money, then they'll start hurting these colleges that don't have all these people lining up to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in their college and knowing that they're going to come out a different person because they've been brainwashed while they've been in there. I mean, that's common sense. A technical school is probably even better for your kid anyways than to go to some of these stupid colleges. I mean, I tease and make fun and say that they're going for lesbian basket weaving. Let's see how many jobs they're going to be able to get when they get out, things like that. I joke about it. But basically, that's what they're doing. They're filling their heads full of bullshit. And they, how many of them start researching on how many people and the skill that your daughter or son's going to supposedly get from that college? How many of them actually got jobs? Start talking to people, finding out who just graduated from there and what they're doing, what kind of job they have. Are they waitressing, or are they actually working in the degree that they supposedly got from that college? Stuff like that. Yeah, just because you get a job after you get out, is it an accounting job because you went through accounting, or is it something else? Like most people I know, they can't get a job after they graduate. They just have this thing hanging on their wall that's basically useless, and they end up doing something else. So I don't know. To me, it's sad that these people waste their money sending their kid to be indoctrinated to hate them. And you've paid all their bills. You're still paying their car payment, their cell phone. You're probably paying their rent. And they do nothing but bash you and tell you're a horrible fascist Nazi after you paid all their way. So yeah, enjoy that. All you parents that do that, I think it's ridiculous. But this last thing that I wanted to bring up, I thought was pretty interesting when I got to actually watch it. It was pretty good. So I'd never heard of this person. So if this hadn't been sent to me, I would never have ever even seen it. Now, I mean, the only reason I have it and got to watch it is because somebody sent it to me. I think it's very interesting. And he's talking about the shutdown, but I wanted to share his point of view on it because it's really interesting, the whole thing. So here we go.
Down. That was easy. You probably didn't notice unless you're cashing a check at taxpayer expense like the 740,000 federal workers who are now furloughed, or the army of millions of tax-funded left-wing NGOs that are now cut off. If you're just tuning in, the federal budget is voted 1 year at a time, and it ran out at midnight. Meaning, in theory, the government is not allowed to spend any more money. It is shut down. Of course, the vast majority of government, at least 70%, is exempt and keeps grinding. That includes so-called mandatory spending like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, as well as essential functions like the military, air traffic, courts, and the Department of Justice. The Federal Reserve sadly keeps going since it literally prints its budget in the basement. Now, historically, politicians fear shutdown since our rogue federal oligarchy tries to make them as painful as possible. So rather than cutting, say, welfare to illegals, gender transitions for federal prisoners, they cut school lunches, firefighters, and shutter national parks, called the Washington Monument Strategy, or Firemen First. But given Donald Trump alone gets to decide what's essential, he can keep the stuff voters want and toss the rest, raising the tantalizing prospect that a shutdown could actually be popular, in which case it could go on for a long time. Now, that's fun because shuttering a third of the federal government would instantly balance the budget. It would lay off roughly 740,000 federal workers, in addition to the millions of defunded NGOs. Now, combined with the DOGE layoffs, that would mean more than half of federal workers outside the Post Office and Department of War would be permanently fired. The key is how long does the shutdown last? Because there's a magic number, 61 days, where Trump can permanently lay off those federal workers. Is because you have to give federal workers 60 days notice of termination called reduction in force. So if you're still at shutdown at day 61, you complete the termination, they are gone. On the other hand, if you don't terminate them, then when government tragically reopens, they get back pay for the entire shutdown, even though they didn't work. Now, 61 days would be by far the longest government shutdown. The current record holder is 35 days back in 2018 over Trump's border wall. That one had so little impact, you probably don't remember it. Now, back then, people like Rush Limbaugh urged Trump to keep going, but of course, legacy media was pounding rhinos while Dems controlled the House, so Trump had to give up. This time, he does not have to. Legacy media ain't what it used to be, and rhinos should fear their voters instead of a crippled legacy media. So as Sex brought to you by I Trust Capital, prediction market Kalshi is currently projecting just 8 days of shutdown with 13% odds it lasts longer than 35 days. That implies either Republicans cave, boosting Obamacare subsidies or Medicaid for illegals, or that Democrats cave, saving their government workers despite their Antifa wing and donor wing demanding a fight. So odds are we will not get to that 61-day paradise. Instead, Congress will kick the can once more. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Well, I thought he was interesting. I'm going to share his, I'm going to get his link real quick, Peter's link, and I'm going to share it in the chat because I thought he was pretty interesting. And I know I have a few friends that are on X that are into the betting stuff, you know, Polymarket and all that other stuff. That might be interested in listening to this guy. But the thing is, wouldn't that be awesome if we could go 61 days and be able to fire all these people that we don't want and have them have to actually work, find a job where they can't just, you know, get away with not doing anything. I do have a couple friends online, not friends that I see in person or anything, that have told me that they work for the government in different aspects. And a lot of them have told me that half the time, since I've been friends with them for like over 4 or 5 years, or maybe some of them are a little bit longer than that, that half the time only half of them even go to the business where they work, the building, that they work from home. So it's all computer work or whatever, I guess. But it's shocking to me how many people we have working for the government. I mean, honestly, do we really have to do that? Every business I've ever worked for, they do evaluations. You get like an evaluation on what you did, you know, for your job and how much money you brought in, considering how much money you spent. You know, you have budgets and things like that. So if you didn't do well and you were constantly spending more money than you brought in, guess what? You didn't have a job very long. You know what I mean? So why is the government one of the only entities that we have where you can spend whatever amount of money you want, but you still keep the job? I mean, I've never heard of such a thing. It's just totally ridiculous. Every job I've ever went in, let's say like when I became a floral manager, I was an assistant for a while. And when the manager left and went to another position at another job, she recommended that I take her position. So I interviewed for it and they gave it to me. Well, in 6 months, I went in and I found so many things that I felt were wasteful, and figured out ways to clear out the back room, you know, with ideas to get rid of vases and lots of stuff that they've had for many, many, many years that they never even put out on the floor. for sale. So I did that. And then I found other ways to cut corners to save money and for safety issues and things like that in my department. And they loved it. They offered me a job to travel to the other grocery stores and help the other stores, get rid of the waste in their department and actually make money. So I think I'm smart when it comes to some things, but I can tell you right now, wasting money to me is never smart. So the fact that these people's wallet is getting closed, the strings are getting tighter and tighter, and they're having a hard time getting their hand down in there to get the cash, that it's not theirs. And when they can't have the money they want, they throw a fit, and they do everything they can to make you feel like crap, like you're a horrible person. Having an abortion ban outside the Democratic convention to perform abortions, which is, I don't agree with, unless it's in the best interest of the mother to survive. She's going to die or whatever. And I have had a friend of mine that's had that, and I almost had that with the tubal pregnancy. So there's lots of reasons why a doctor might have to intervene for a woman when that's pregnant. I mean, there are health issues with it, preeclampsia. There's tons of things that can happen. But if you're not a medical person and you don't understand those things, then why not look it up, research it, go on WebMD, start asking questions, looking things up, find things. If you don't understand what it is, don't just take someone's word for it, research it. If you're on the internet, if you're on Facebook, if you're on any of these apps, then you can Google something or DuckDuckGo it, whatever it is you want, you can find the answer if you want one. But what's really sad is how many people just sit there behind their keyboard and bash so many people, tell them how stupid they are and how retarded they are and how ugly they are, how fat they are, whatever it is that they want to say to hurt other people and behind their keyboard. You see, they don't have to show themselves. They don't have to come out in public and tell everybody, this is me, I'm the keyboard warrior, and I like to attack people and bring people down and bully you, simply because maybe you hate your life or you hate yourself. Why else would you bully other people? I don't understand why people bully other people for no reason. Now, if they're a total dickhead to you and they treat you like shit, then you have a right to stand up for yourself and tell them to shut the fuck up if you don't like what they have to say to you, or turn around and leave. Don't stay. Don't give them the time of day. And if you just walk off enough times, they're going to quit bothering you because it's boring. They don't get the response like, oh, poor me. They're so mean to me. Why are you arguing with me? Why are you doing that to me? If you do that shit, then they're going to keep doing it. That's what bullies like to do. They like to humiliate you. They want to hurt your feelings. And even if it's just over this kind of stuff, over politics, they're going to bully you, especially if they lean to the left. I've seen a few conservatives that can be douchebags, but they're really extreme about a lot of things that they do in their lives, or they're just a narcissist. I mean, because narcissists can be conservatives when it comes to fiscally conservative with money and what they want for themselves. But almost every person I've ever met that is a liberal that talks down their nose at you, like Hillary Clinton, is a narcissist. So it's really easy to spot. If you just pay attention, you'll start seeing it. After 2 or 3 sentences, you'll know whether or not you want to have a conversation with that person. But that takes time and effort too. So, if you don't want to take any time out of your day to learn something and to maybe stop a headache for you later on, then I guess you're going to get another headache. We have to start taking care of ourselves. If you want something and you need money to get it, get a part-time job. Fix things for people. Like if you're good at fixing a sink's pipes under a sink, or changing tires or changing oil in the car, you can do that for someone else and they can pay you for it. You can babysit. I've done that many times. I had a neighbor that had 3 kids, and I had a couple of kids of myself, and they wanted to start a job. And I said, well, hey, if you start working, I'll babysit for you, and you can pay me. And we worked that out, depending on the hours and stuff like that. And what we would do if they were already asleep, since we were right next door, things like that. We worked it out, and it worked out great. And my kids loved it. They loved having someone to play with every day, and their kids seemed to like it. And it was fun. It kept me busy, and I made a few dollars that I put in my kids' savings accounts, and it worked out for both of us. And she felt comfortable because she didn't want to put them in a daycare where she didn't know what was going on in there or know those people. So there's so many things you can do for yourself if you want to. But you have to want to do something. You can lose weight. You can stop smoking. You can stop drinking. You can stop doing a lot of the things that you used to do just simply by not hanging with the people that helped you do those things. That's one thing you can do, is get rid of your friends. If your friends want you to drink and party and smoke and do all these things that you really don't want to do, but every time you're with them, that's what you do, maybe you should just stop spending so much time with those people. And guess what? You do that, things start getting better. You'll see. You just have to make an effort. You have to look in the mirror at yourself every day. Do you like what you see? Think about it. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. And hopefully tomorrow night you can come hang out with me and Bruce and Ruben and maybe another guest, if I can get someone to want to join me tomorrow night on the Friday Night Shit Show, because we're going to be talking about a whole buttload of shit that's been going on in our world. So hope you guys have a great rest of this evening, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.